Around the world, animators and digital artists are revolutionizing games, commercials, and motion pictures, transforming their vision into reality. The SoftImage 3D.
Is this thing on? Is it on?
This is the studio of San Francisco's Colossal Pictures. Founded by filmmakers Gary Gutierrez and Drew Takahashi, Colossal has a reputation for being wildly creative.
We kind of like to celebrate the chaos of things. I like the fact that somebody can be working on, a commercial one day, doing a CD-ROM the next day. We always have tried to kind of pursue a wide variety of things according to our interests, not strategizing. So in a lot of ways, these businesses coming together is kind of what we've done naturally all this time.
I've got cameras, I got a projector, I got a thingy.
They call the Colossal style Blendo, a stew of traditional techniques like cell animation, stop motion, clay, and watercolors, mixed with the latest computer graphic technology. Colossal's director of digital production is Jonathan Luskin.
We use SoftImage for modeling, animation, and rendering. It's our basic tool here. It's really the core software we're using. The people who wrote it were animators, and you can tell because they have a whole different sense of time and how that relates to everything in the package.
On this Coca-Cola logo is a standard little highlight.
This commercial for Coke is a perfect example of the Colossal Blendo style.
Moving in there appropriate.
Detailed storyboards were just the first step of this innovative process. After the animatic was scanned, the motion tools in SoftImage were used to get the sun perfectly registered. Then output to paper where the face and hands were drawn by hand. This layer was then scanned into SoftImage tunes.
The scene I just inked and painted took about 20 minutes, 91 frames. That would have probably taken at least a week in traditional ink and paint with a crew of 5, and it would still have to go to camera.
The rolling terrain and all of the props in the scene were modeled in SoftImage 3D. Throughout the spot, Colossal animators had the flexibility to choose the modeling tools that best suited the job. Relational modeling provides global control to mold, shape, and animate anything you can visualize. And if one isn't enough, SoftImage 3D lets you copy an object and reference it over and over throughout a scene. Change the original and you change the others. The result is more creative freedom, less wasted time and effort.
There's a piece in the spot where the sun throws the beach chair down into the sand. And what we needed was something to really accent the animation at that point, to make it pop. I used the particle system to simulate sand being thrown up towards the camera lens as the chair has impact with the beach.
From sand and sun to fire and rain, the new SoftImage particle system gives you full command of real-world effects.
SoftImage helped us integrate everything from 3D to 2D ink and paint.
This is the Queen West District of Toronto, home of Topics, Canada's top computer graphics house.
We've been successful at selling odd ideas to an advertiser, and it's made working here a lot of fun.
Topics is known for innovative character animation with a unique look and feel, like this spot for Post Fruity Pebbles.
We were looking for some way of not being condescending to the kids and still be able to relate to people our age. We decided Mental Ray was the tool we were going to use to bring this to life, to take it from being a standard computer graphics piece to something that was really an on-the-edge bit of computer animation that had that grit to it.
A little more squish on the toms.
It looks pretty good. The mental ray is so open. If we can't get an effect just off the shelf, we're able to write our own effects into the software. You know, when you're in the fog and somebody is in front of the light, to see shadow behind them that's been cut out as they move their arms, that was the look that we were going for.
Are you ready for a big fruity taste? Now, baby.
Mental Ray gives you the flexibility and control to produce an unlimited range of photorealistic effects, like depth of field, visible light sources, displacement mapping, lens and atmospheric effects, and many other customizable shaders. So you can create exactly what you have in mind. And when deadlines start to close in, Mental Ray can distribute rendering tasks to other workstations, speeding production like never before.
We started off using a hodgepodge of different animation tools. We spent a lot of our time writing bridges between all of the different software packages. We wanted to have a lot of animators working here, not programmers. And SoftImage came up with the tools for us to be able to do that, all integrated into one package. We decided to drop all of our other licenses and go straight with SoftImage.
RGA Digital Studios, New York and LA, a bi-coastal design and production company. Well known as a pioneer in the creative integration of film, video, and computer imaging techniques, RGA focuses on Madison Avenue in the east and Hollywood in the west. They're 3,000 miles apart, but they share resources on a daily basis.
And we just want to smooth out this transition here and then work out a holdback mat.
RGA creative director Joe Francis is in LA, working on an effect with an animator who's in New York for the motion picture The Shadow.
The director was so excited by the work that we were doing with The Shadow that he actually increased the number of shots from what was originally planned to be 6 in the first sequence to more than 30. One series of shots that we did is with an enchanted knife called the Purba. It was originally envisioned that the knife would be largely realized through a prop on the end of a rod. Once we got involved with the project and began using SoftImage to really add some life to even just the way the knife flies, just the way that it would kind of hover in the air and then pull back and then dart forward, it was much more engaging. And by using the ability of SoftImage to interpolate and change databases from one to the other, we created all of the expressions that you see the knife have. We used inverse kinematics to create all of the motion that you see in these arms so that they kind of sprout out and kind of his nails click on the floor and then he kind of crawls across the floor. The great thing about SoftImage's inverse kinematics is if you want the hand to go in a straight line, you move it in a straight line. It back figures up the arm what the appropriate rotations are in order to achieve that.
Meanwhile, back east at the New York office of RGA, founder Bob Greenberg is designing the future. This industry visionary is responsible for the innovative way his company communicates and creates.
What CG needs to break away from is the fact that it's impersonal, not human, very overly stylized. This breaks the mold for a lot of the preconceived problems with CG. There's something very interesting about the personalities that you're able to get from the cars with SoftImage.
Production on this series of spots for Shell began with SoftImage channels, the first user-friendly motion capture system.
We were able on the stage to see in real time car dancing according to the motion of dancer. That was invaluable for us. They were dancing the tango, then they look at themselves on the screen in real time and say, hey, we don't have arms. That's kind of annoying for a tango dancer, so they had to exaggerate the motion. And they did that in real time.
SoftImage provides a variety of motion capture techniques for full body as well as facial animation. You can even output for motion rig or Waldo puppet control. Back at the Hollywood office of RGA, SoftImage Channels is being used to bring the video game Mortal Kombat to television.
The nice thing about the way the tools are designed is that they work in the same way that a filmmaker thinks.
When he comes around, if we can just have the camera do a kind of a near miss like this.
You can do a lot of things that would be difficult to do with live action. If you want the camera to do an extended kind of shot that would involve laying track, you don't need to lay any track. You don't need to worry about seeing any track or not seeing it. The performance is consistent from shot to shot. So if you want to cover something from one angle and then from another angle, the continuity is there. And if you wished that you had gone and picked up some additional shots, the set is not struck. The performance is not over. You can go back and get what you need.
When the sun sets, Tokyo is a hotbed of interactive entertainment. From the home to the arcade, the Japanese have a passion for games. Worldwide, games is a multi-billion-dollar market. Kiliak the Blood, Sony Music's first hit game developed for PlayStation, was created with SoftImage.
In the story, there is a part which shows the destruction of the city of Hong Kong. In the opening scene, the earth cracks. With SoftImage, you can translate your ideas directly without having anyone or anything to intervene. I can destroy things with my own hand in the way I want.
Sony's Club Deck is a free space where young artists have the opportunity to grow while expressing their ideas with SoftImage 3D.
It is very similar to the record industry. Great things are created by artists. Thus, it is most important to look for artists, believe in them, and bring out their talent. When I first met Kozo, he brought 4 or 5 of his black and white illustrations. It has only been a week since he started, and he is already beginning to create great stuff.
Sega rules the arcades of Japan, where Virtua Fighter 2 is the latest rage. Ready! Virtua Fighter is the brainchild of Yu Suzuki, one of the game industry's superstars.
When I talked to everyone in the planning stage of Virtua Fighter, almost everyone said it would be technically impossible because it would be a full-motion 3D fighting game.
Sega used SoftImage channels to capture all the moves of Japan's finest martial artists for Virtua Fighter 2. And to make the characters even bigger than life, inverse kinematics was used to exaggerate and, in some cases, make fine adjustments.
When a character punches and the motion capture finds out that the punch is only 1 centimeter short to hit the target, we were able to adjust that 1 centimeter. With SoftImage, that kind of precise job went very smoothly.
Another dynamic game from Sega is Daytona, USA.
I went to the Daytona 500 for 2 days in February and saw Americans very excited and having fun. The cars compete bumping against each other. Movements were not at a small petty scale, but vast and dynamic.
Daytona and Virtua Fighter are both products of the powerful SoftImage 3D polygon modeler. And like other gamers around the world who create with SoftImage, Sega takes advantage of the many features of SoftImage made expressly for building games, like polygon reduction, color reduction, UV texture mapping.
The most important thing in making good games is to keep your dream and passion alive.
From games to commercials to motion pictures, the world's top creative talent transform their vision to reality with SoftImage 3D.